Howdy, friend. Welcome back to Logan versus the Hateful Strawberries. We're on Chapter 7 of our draft reading, Conk on the Wonkus. The service ended, and Pa's hand landed heavily on his shoulder before Logan could collect his thoughts. The morning's brooding silence didn't break as he spoke kindly to other churchgoers. However, the way Pa kept his conversation short and the vice-like grip he had on Logan's shoulder made it clear Pa was directing Logan forcibly outdoors as fast as he could without offending anyone. For a moment, he thought he should share his new insight into the strawberries with Pa, but as they cleared the church's front porch, they turned towards their buggy, and Pa began, "Logan, I don't have the words for how disappointed I am in your behavior last night." Logan's heart sank, and with it, any thought that he might share his new insight straight to the bottom of the ocean of despair he felt the night before. Pa continued, "Your ma brought one of her famous strawberry pies to the potluck today, and I was going to be bragging about what a hard worker you are. Now..." Pa cut off, and it was clear he was just plain hurt. "But Pa..." Logan started. "There's nothing for it," an edge returned to Pa's voice like it had the night before. "You're going to spend supper here in the buggy while we visit at the potluck. This will remind you how you didn't feed the animals last night. Then, when we get home, we'll talk about additional consequences." Logan wanted to protest. He had to protest somehow. But the edge in Pa's voice made it clear there would be no bargaining, and at this point, Logan knew his words would just come off hollow and unconvincing. If Pa was willing to deal with any questions from their church family about Logan not being at the table, he had to be beyond furious. Instead, he merely said, "Yes, sir," and stepped up into the buggy. Pa grabbed their picnic basket without another word and let him stew in the late spring heat. As Pa disappeared into the crowd outside the church, tears began to form in Logan's eyes, despite his best effort to hold them back. It just wasn't fair. He didn't mean to break the spyglass, and he was trying to do the right thing by helping the raccoon. It was just the strawberries. They made everything better. Outside, the tables were finally set up, and the parson was saying grace. The sight of trays of food being passed around made his stomach grumble. The more insistent the grumbles became, the more the twinkles he got from the strawberries began to fade. At first, he thought it might just be the tears in his eyes, but after wiping them, he realized the world had turned dull again. Deep down, he began to ache for the sweet, sweet taste of those strawberries. The potluck drug on, and sweat began forming on Logan's head, being in the buggy's cab as the sun peaked. He began to get thirsty and thought momentarily about that he might ask Pa for a sip of water, but he was sure that would only dig him further into trouble. However, the kids, including Aiden and Ethan, began to filter away from the tables, and a furious game of tag began to form in the churchyard. As much as he hated missing the potluck, he was even more envious of Aiden's running free. Somewhere deep in the grumbling in Logan's stomach, a heat began to rise in his chest and up his neck. He didn't understand why Pa had to be so mean, leaving him all locked up in the buggy. It was just a stupid spyglass anyway. Besides, he fed the animals only an hour after their normal time. There was still some corn in a couple of the feed bins. They weren't that hungry. And another thing, if Pa was so worried about them being hungry, why didn't he just feed them himself? In his growing anger, the game of tag swirled toward him, and Aiden caught his eye as he leaned on his chin out the window of the buggy. His friend broke off from the game and ran over to him. "Logan, what's going on? Why are you in the buggy? Are you sick or something?" Aiden asked with evident concern in his voice. "I don't want to talk about it," Logan snapped and then jerked back, surprised at his own tone. Okay. Aiden put up his hands. "No need to get snippy with me." Aiden's demand set Logan on edge. There was a need to get snippy. Couldn't Aiden see that Logan was being treated unfairly? "I wasn't being snippy. It's just none of your business." "All right, if you don't want to talk about it," Aiden responded, lowering his hand, stepping up close to the buggy's door and dropping his voice to above a whisper. "But can you tell me at least, did you cut down that tree?" Logan's breath caught in his throat. He wasn't expecting this line of questioning and didn't know what to say. So, did it squish all the strawberries? Aiden's voice raised with just a bit of excitement. Or did they go poof in the light from the tower once the tree was out of the way? I wish I could have seen it. Well, Logan stammered. You cut it down, right? Logan's eyebrows knit as his gaze bored into Logan's eyes. Logan contemplated lying to protect the secret of the strawberries all to himself. But at the rate things were going, one more lie might put him in jail. I started to, and then there was this raccoon that got scared out of the tree, and well, it ate some strawberries, and it seemed happy. So I tried one, and well, it was amazing, and I think they're a fruit of the spirit. The story just spilled out of Logan's mouth. Logan, you didn't! Aiden got up on his tiptoes on the buggy step and held onto the buggy's window to get right into Logan's face. Those were darkness strawberries. Only bad stuff can come from that. Logan felt the heat rising up his neck and into his face. Who was Aiden to tell him what was good or bad? The sparkly lights were amazing. The strawberries can't be bad. He didn't know what he was talking about. Who was Aiden to get up in his face like that? You don't know what you're talking about. Get out of my face, Logan blurted as he brought his closed fist down on top of Logan's head. Ow! Logan cried as he stumbled and fell off the buggy step to land hard on his bottom. Oof! Why'd you conk me in the wonkus? You're supposed to be my friends. Friends don't hit each other for no reason. Aiden rubbed the top of his head. Shock flooded Logan's system, unable to believe what he'd done. Aiden was his best friend. They might roughhouse a bit from time to time, but that was all in good fun. He'd never just up and hit his friend before. He opened the buggy door and jumped down in hopes of helping his friend. Aiden scrambled back. It's those strawberries, isn't it? They're making you act like you have the darkness in you. I'm going to tell your pa. No, please don't. Logan pleaded as tears came down his face. I'm in so much trouble. This will ruin me for good. You're my best friend, please. Aiden paused his retreat. You sure have a funny way of being friends. It was those strawberries. Aiden, time to clean up. Ethan's voice came from by the picnic tables. Mama said. Aiden picked himself up off the ground and hollered, coming! Then he started for the church. Wait, Logan called, anxious to fix things with Aiden. I can't. Aiden called over, sir. If you're really my friend, you'll go chop that tree down. Then he was off, leaving Logan unsure where he stood with Aiden. There was only one way to fix things. He had to cut down that tree. But how could he do it without getting in even more trouble? Well, that's chapter 7, folks. I hope you come back for chapter 8.